Hi, Sarah here with theholymess.com. Do you feel like you just never have enough time to get everything done? I can relate to that feeling. Well, a story I would like to tell you. Last fall, my son and I sat down with a caseworker to have a meeting, and Halloween had just ended, and he sat down with his big bag, huge bag of Halloween candy, and he asked me if he could have a piece. And I said yes, he could have a piece as long as he was willing to share with the other adults at the table, which was me and the caseworker. So he dug and he dug and he dug through his bag, and he wasn't really very willing to share. Now, my son is 12 and he has some special needs, and we've been working on sharing and learning to do some of those skills. And the caseworker hinted to him, and she said, I really like Snickers, and I also really like Heath Bar. And he continued to dig and dig through his bag, and he dug past a Snickers bar. I saw several of those. And he dug past the Heath Bar, and he finally dug to the bottom of the bag, and he pulled out one tiny little bag of candy corn. And it wasn't even the good candy corn, it was generic candy corn, and he handed it to her. And I remember feeling really frustrated in that moment and thinking, he's got this huge bag of candy, which probably is just going to end up going to waste. He won't even eat all of it. He's not even willing to share. Later on that day, I was praying and spending time with God, and I'm thinking about how can I make this a good lesson for my son. And God hit me with some conviction in that moment, and he said, Sarah, that is not just your son's time, that is you. And not just with candy, although don't get me wrong, I really love my chocolate. That is you with your minutes. That's your time. What was going on in our life at that moment? My son was at home with me all the time. He wasn't going to school. He was on home instruction, which means that we had a tutor who was coming in 2 hours a day. But other than that, he wasn't in school. Because of his special needs, our school district was looking for a new school for him. And I wasn't very happy about it. He needs an incredible amount of one-on-one attention. And I had plans of things that I wanted to get done. I had writing that I wanted to do, and we had just moved, and we were in temporary housing, and I had things that I wanted to get acclimated to the new community, and things that I needed to get done, and paperwork and phone calls, and plans for our new house, and so much that I wanted to get done. And so I was handing out minutes to my son, but they were candy corn minutes. They weren't Snickers minutes. They weren't the minutes that he needed. And as I was praying, it was as if God was telling me, you need to give your son the time that he needs, all the time that he needs. The Snickers bars, not just a little bit of candy corn here and there. You need to share with him fully what he needs. So now I ask you, as you're struggling to balance your time and juggle it all, what is God telling you right now? What do you need to fully give your time to? And maybe these are really tough decisions. Maybe it's hard. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's a child who needs you. Maybe it's a struggling marriage. Maybe it's something that you've just been handing out some candy corn here and there, some generic candy corn minutes, saying, I'll just give it a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and hopefully that'll be enough. And God's saying, wait a minute. I want you to give this your all. Well, I can tell you about that situation with my son. He spent 3 months on home instruction, and it was tough. Those were some really tough times, but he needed that time with me. Because of the move and some other situations, he really needed that one-on-one time. That was some great time of attachment with him. I needed to fully surrender my schedule to God and my own plans and my own goals and say, okay, God, this is time that I will give to you, and then I will give to my son. And since then, we have seen huge improvement in our son's behavior, and not just because of the time that I spent with him. Lots of things have changed in our lives, but I know that some of that was from my own surrender and my willingness to spend that extra time with him that I really do think improved his attachment. So I ask you today to think about your schedule and what God is telling you. I want you to give me your all in this particular area. I want you to give me your Snickers bar, your best, not just your candy corn, but your very best as you think about your time today. Thank you. I'm Sarah with theholymess.com.